All right. Tonight we're going to talk about maintaining healthy blood sugar levels. So, welcome everyone. I'm really glad you're here. Hope you brought something to write with. We're going to just jump right in because I have several things I want to share with you and some recipes and um, also some suggestions for what we can do when when we know that we need a little extra support for our blood sugar. So, when most of the food that we eat turns into glucose, right, or sugar, and we need that for our bodies to make energy. It's absolutely necessary for that purpose. When we're talking about blood sugar, the primary organ that we're going to be talking about and focusing on is, of course, the pancreas, and it's a glandular organ, and it lies near the stomach, and it makes hormones. One is called insulin, which helps the glucose levels get into our cells, and then glucagon that also helps to prevent our blood sugar from dropping too low. So all of that's important, right? We want balance. That's what life is about. It's about balance. The pancreas also excretes enzymes and some bicarbonate into the small intestines via the pancreatic duct. So these enzymes are really important for the digestion process, especially when we're thinking about carbohydrates, proteins, and fats. So it's absolutely necessary. Um, One of the things that I want you to think about right from the beginning as we're talking tonight is if we've got any kind of blood sugar issues or pancreas deficiencies, we want to look at the liver as well as the pancreas, because if the liver is too toxic, if the liver is not functioning optimally, that can definitely lead to issues with our blood sugar because it creates inflammation in the pancreas. So, when we talk about digestion, and so often, you guys, we want to compartmentalize our bodies and our symptoms and all the things, and we just can't. We are a whole being, body, mind, spirit, right? And every function supports and affects another function or multiple functions of the body. So we really just want to go back to building, number one, foundational health, and number two, we want to get to the core, the source of whatever it is that's going on, right? That's causing those imbalances. Not We don't want to put a band-aid on things, right? That's not the space that we come from. And I know you wouldn't be on here tonight if that is your goal in life. So um, typically, when we think about blood sugar fluctuations or blood sugar issues, a couple of things come to our mind: diabetes, right, and hypoglycemia. So there are actually a couple of different kinds of diabetes, and so we're going to take a just quick look at both of those, and then we'll take a look at hypoglycemia. Anybody know anyone that deals with any of that? It's I mean, like, I'm seeing all the hands go up and heads nodding. It's so on the rise. Diabetes, pancreas deficiencies, all those things are on the rise. It's crazy how many people are being um, are being challenged with these types of issues. So the thing is, I'm really glad you're here tonight, because whatever you learn, even if it may not be for you, you can take the information that you learn and pay it forward, right? And help someone else out with it, because we don't have to be a statistic, you guys. We just don't have to be. So type 1 diabetes usually is early onset, and it really is typically some type of damage to the pancreas, often as a result of like viruses or some type of bacterial infection, something like that. But it basically keeps it causes the pancreas not to be able to create the insulin the way that it should. So therefore, keeping blood sugar balance, it's not able to do that. There are other factors, environmental toxins as well as genetics, but genetics is they used to blame it a lot on genetics, and now we're finding more and more that it really is one of the other, it's more of some type of damage to the pancreas versus genetics. Then we have type 2, which is usually onset during adulthood, and it's just the fact that um, the body is not, or the pancreas isn't able to produce the proper amounts of insulin to be able to keep the blood sugar balanced. Also, the cells of our body are typically too toxic to accept the insulin, even if it's being, produced properly. Now, some people get really offended when we start talking about toxicity, but you know what, guys? We're exposed to all kinds of stuff every single day, and bioaccumulation is a real thing. And we are not going to escape it. We can do some things to help to avoid it. We can reduce our exposure and we can do cleansing, but it is a real thing that affects literally everyone. So we want to support the pancreas as much as possible. Couple of things that we can do on an ongoing basis, a couple of times a year would be a colon cleanse followed by a liver cleanse. Because when everything is moving and being able to be moved out of the body properly through the colon, and the liver's able to flush and filter and do all the things it needs to do, guess what? The entire digestive system is going to be able to function more effectively. So that's where we can't say, oh, gee, I've got, a problem with my liver, a problem with my gallbladder, or, stomach or colon or whatever. Everything affects everything else. So those two things are really important. Also, having a balanced diet, right? Not eating all the junk. That's huge. So, and reverse and exercise is also really, really important. Hypoglycemia. A lot of people are affected by this. It's just a situation where our sugar is very low. So it's really common in people that already are dealing with pancreas insufficiencies, and they may have been diagnosed with something like diabetes. But it also can be caused by, drugs, prescription drugs, over-the-counter drugs, street drugs, things like that we're taking, or tumors or some other deficiency in the pancreas, causing it again not to be able to create enough insulin to sufficiently supply the body. Um, so symptoms for that might be things like hunger, sweating, just getting weak all of a sudden, palpitations, feeling really shaky, jittery, dizzy, even confusion. People can get, really get confused all of it. And a lot of the time it'll come on very suddenly. So there are several reasons that we really should be concerned about keeping our blood sugar levels healthy and balanced. Because when the body produces sufficient insulin and utilizes it properly, obviously we're just going to feel better. Because when our blood sugar fluctuates, we don't feel good. And for those of you that have those experiences, I know that you can vouch for that. It just, you do not feel good. But if too much sugar builds up in our blood, it can cause the blood to become thicker, resulting in cardiovascular issues. So we certainly don't want that. And again, that's that effect of one thing leads to another. Healthy circulation. We want to make sure our circulatory system's functioning normally. Stamina, just a healthy stamina, energy levels, being able to function normally and do the things that we want to do day in and day out. Kidneys, our kidneys will be affected, if we have blood sugar fluctuations and challenges especially if over a period of time, and eye health. So that also can affect the health of our eyes. As a matter of fact, that can be a biggie for individuals that really have some severe deficiencies with the pancreas. So when we're in tune with the body and we do some proactive things, we can avoid some of these challenges later on. And don't start thinking about, well, gee, I already have these issues or dealing with some of this stuff, or some people that I love are dealing with it. That's okay. We can still take action and we can still make changes now to support the body and reverse that. So how do we know if maybe we need to pay a little extra attention or give our pancreas a little extra love? There's some things, if we experience, three or four of these things kind of on a regular basis, that should get our attention. It's things like constant thirst, no matter how much we drink. And I'm not talking about drinking soda with all that sodium and all that sugar in it, you guys. I'm talking about drinking water that, real something that's actually can quench our thirst. Frequent urination is another one. Just being tired, fatigued, even if we're sleeping 8 or 10 hours a night, and we go to bed tired and we get up tired. Craving sweets, um, having headaches, feeling shaky or lightheaded, getting irritable, when we skip or we delay meals. I think, what do they call that? Hangry or something like that, I think is the word that I heard people use for that. Just general irritability for no apparent reason. Nausea can also result. Skin infections, blurred vision. We talked about the eyesight before. Pain under our left ribs, where the pancreas is. Tingling in our limbs, hands and feet, and very dry skin. So if you're dealing with some of those on an ongoing basis, you might want to take a closer look at how you can better support the pancreas. So I'm just going to toss out a few things real quick that are good for, in general, for supporting our pancreas and keeping it healthy. So wolfberries, they're really good to nourish the pancreas. They're great detoxifiers and cleansers. So that's something easy that we can do, right? Eat a handful of organic wolfberries every day. That's a great thing. How about stevia? And I'm not talking about stevia in all the crazy forms and with all the stuff added to it. I'm talking about stevia extract, like from the plant. Why, oh, why does everything have to get adulterated with junk? You know, they take all of our good stuff and they add crud to it. But anyway, pure stevia is actually a really good substitute, number one, for sugar, but it also helps to rebuild glucose tolerance and stabilize our blood sugar. So there are some reasons that it can actually be really good for us. Protein. We have to have good sources of protein because that also helps to stabilize our blood sugar and keep it stabilized longer. So if that's a good reason to have healthy protein for breakfast right from the get-go in the morning to get off to a really good start in stabilizing the blood sugar. I already mentioned, colon and liver cleansing. So if that's not something you do on the regular, definitely look into that. Do a little bit of research, and consider adding those. And when you do start cleansing, starting with the colon is where you want to, you really want to start because you want everything to be eliminating properly before you start pulling toxins from other places in the body. A really quick thing that you can do for the pancreas to help, just give it a little extra love is some thieves oil and top it with a warm compress. Now, some of us may have more sensitive skin than others, so thieves can be a little bit warm for some of us and some of us not. If you need to add a little bit of a carrier oil with that, if you're one of the individuals that has more sensitive skin, then absolutely do that. But that can be just give you a lot of comfort if you've got some discomfort in that area of the body, or you know that your pancreas is not functioning properly. Sulfurzyme, if you're familiar with sulfurzyme, if you're familiar with Ningxia Red, those two both are really good for the pancreas. So remember, Ningxia Red is a powerhouse of antioxidants, right? And so we're talking about number one here, keeping the body free of toxicity. We're looking at, being rich in vitamin C. So and they can both assist with whether the blood sugar is high or low. Doesn't matter. We're looking at balancing. Now, I have heard several people talk about that when their blood sugar goes one way or the other, they drink Ningxia Red and they do an ounce of it every 15 or 20 minutes until the blood sugar stabilizes. And, for everybody, that could be different. That might be drinking it twice. It might be drinking it 10 times. I don't know. But the really good news is we have some options, right? And that's an easy thing to be able to do. And you know how Ningxia comes in the packets? So we can literally carry those in our pocketbook, our backpack, throw them in the glove box of the car, put them in a diaper bag, right? We can have that kind of thing with us as well as oils. So those are easy peasy. Okay, so I'm going to give you a few lists now of some single oils first that are known to support the pancreas and known to help support healthy blood sugar levels. Ocotea is at the top of that list. If you're not familiar with Ocotea, get familiar with it. It is in the cinnamon family, but is not nearly as hot or spicy as cinnamon bark. Cinnamon bark is phenomenal, but it is a bit spicy. If you've ever dropped it under your tongue, you get it on your lips, you know what I'm talking about. You're going to feel it for a minute. So I'm going to tell you Rhonda's tip to drop in oils. I'm a lazy oiler. Like I drop so many oils under my tongue, and it's not just because I'm lazy. I also know it's really, really effective. For me, it works really fast. But I have found that this is my secret weapon for when I'm doing that. You see what I've got? It doesn't matter what kind, but you just coat those lips really good with your lip balm, and then you drop that cinnamon bark or thieves or whatever you're going to drop. And trust me, you'll be glad you did. So basil is another one. Clove. Clove's a warm oil too. So just beware. Coriander, fennel, dill. Dill is really good, especially like with cravings and things like that. Dill is great. There's some people that just swear by they even dropping it on your wrist, and just putting it on the wrist, things like that. But just play with them, you guys, and figure out what works best for you because we're all a little bit different. Things, what works for me may not work exactly the same way for you. And then there's the cinnamon bark that's hot, and lemongrass. Lemongrass is also a hot oil. So just know that if you happen to be putting them on your body or dropping them under your tongue, they're going to be pretty warm. Okay, some blends that we could use to give us a little extra support. Endoflex, Digize, Thieves, and Sleek Essence. If you haven't used the Sleek Essence, the oils that are in there are really amazing for the entire digestive system. So that could be a good one just to be adding to your Ningxia or to your water or whatever it happens to be that you're drinking throughout the day. Okay, so I'm going to really quick run through a list of nutritionals, you guys, but then we're going to dig in a few minutes to some reasons that we should want to consider specific ones, okay? So don't like make yourself crazy with this list. But Ningxia Red, multigreens, Mega Cal. So we already talked about Ningxia Red, right? Being an antioxidant, all the good stuff, the good nutrients from it. And it's made from the puree of the wolfberry. Remember that nourishes the pancreas. It's so good for the pancreas. Multigreens, we're going to talk about that a little more in a minute. MegaCal is a combination of magnesium and calcium, and some minerals because we need minerals, and most of the population are mineral deficient. So we have to make sure we've got enough minerals in our bodies for it to be, I mean, literally every function of the body requires sufficient minerals. And then omegas, because omegas are so good, right, at reducing inflammation and that type of thing. So we have this brand new green omega-3. So much interesting information about that one. Or we've got a choice of MindWise. Both of those are good sources of omegas. Balance Complete is a protein. We may need to carry some protein with us for a quick protein boost, or Power Meal. Either one of those would work great. We also have a Sleek Berry protein mix, and it comes actually in a little packet, like a single serve packet, which is really handy for carrying, with us. Essential Zyme as an enzyme that is very supportive of the pancreas in general in the digestive system. Master Formula, because again, most of us don't have the proper nutrients that the body needs, and this is plant-based. It's in a form that the body can utilize, and that's important because so much of the time we take things that we just can't utilize. I forgot to mention pure protein. So we've got Power Meal, Pure Protein, Balance Complete, or the Sleek. So we've got 4 choices of some good sources of protein. So you just can look and see, what works best for you. Sleek Tea, just like the Sleek Essence, is really, really good for the entire digestive tract. Dried wolfberries, we talked about munching on those. before, and we mentioned stevia, that using pure stevia as a sweetener is really good and supportive for the pancreas. Okay, some foods that the pancreas loves are blueberries, broccoli, fish, avocados, spinach, sweet potatoes, walnuts, and quinoa. Now, none of these lists, you guys, that I'm sharing tonight are exclusive. Like there's so many, there's so much. There's so many food options. There's so many options that of really good things, but I just wanted to hit some highlights for you to give you some ideas. Okay, so let's talk about protein. So we mentioned before, right, the protein mixes that are good, good sources of protein and some fiber in there, which also helps with the whole digestive process. But eggs, almonds, almond butter, and Greek yogurt. Now, I know that there's a lot of greenwashing with our yogurt, just like everything else, right? So many yogurts advertise and say it's Greek yogurt, but you want to read the label. You don't want extra crud in there, right? Look for those artificial sweeteners because they're truly deadly to our brain. Um, but you just want milk and live cultures. That's what you want in your yogurt. That's what yogurt should be. Okay, not all the other stuff. Salmon, chicken breast. Now, again, we're going to want to buy things, right? We're going to want to use common sense and buy things that don't have hormones and antibiotics and all the things. We're going to buy organic as much as possible. We're going to buy grass-fed as much as possible. We're going to do all those things. Chia seeds are another really good source of protein. Easy to mix into a lot of different things. Beans and lentils are a good source. Bison, good source of protein. Um, I would be remiss if I didn't mention some emotions that affect the pancreas in a negative way, because I truly believe that anytime that we have a deficiency in the body, not only is there, a toxicity issue, but there's also an emotional component to it. And we're expert stuffers of our emotions. And I think in the US, we are taught that from a very extremely young age. Can you think of all the things that you've been told? Just deal with it. Get over it. Suck it up. Put your big girl panties on. All the things, right? That we're told, deal with it. So, some emotions that could be affecting the pancreas might be feelings of judgment, feelings of guilt, low self-esteem, suppressing laughter, an incorrect use of ego, feeling that the joy of life is gone or not allowing joy in your life. Some people just don't believe that they deserve to be happy. Longing for what might have been. So, I'm going to give you 4 oils that are really good for these types of emotions, okay? And we don't certainly typically wouldn't experience all of them, but I bet if we've got some things going on with pancreas, blood sugar fluctuations, that kind of thing, we've got a couple, 2 or 3 of these. Forgiveness is a really good one to use. Now, what would we do with those? You guys, that's an individual thing, but I love using oils around the navel when we're releasing emotions. Also over the area of the body where you're holding on to that. So over the pancreas, on the bottom of the feet, but always this, right? Once you put the oils on, right? Breathing really deep and just taking your time, taking a few minutes, maybe you pray. Use prayer with your oils. Whatever it is for you, do that. Incorporate all of the techniques that resonate with you. Joy is another really good one. We heard a couple of different things relating to joy and happiness. Um, Gentle baby. Gentle Baby is such a precious oil, and it is so nourishing on the emotional level and peace and calming. So those are four oils that you could immediately, begin to use, diffuse, whatever, again, whatever works for you, put them on pulse points. Okay, so let's dig just a little bit deeper. A couple of these things we've already said. Number one, we're going to make sure the colon and the liver are cleansed, right? That's priority number one. Healthy diet, exercise, moving the body. We've got to keep the body moving. If the body's not moving, things are not happening the way they should have. Good purified water. And the rule of thumb for good purified water, not tap water, you guys, not bottled water, but some type of actual purified water, okay? Because we don't want to be getting all the chemicals from the tap water and all that kind of stuff. Half of our body weight in ounces every day of water. That's just a general rule of thumb. You may need a little more, you may need a little less. And if that seems overwhelming to you right now, you start where you are. If you can get 20 ounces in today, and by next week you can get 25, and you just keep making that work. Maybe you can drop some oils. Maybe you like some kind of oil and you can drop oils in there. Maybe you can use the electrolyte drops. There's so many different ways that you can use different things to spice up, I'm going to say, give flavor to your water, because people will tell me, oh, I don't like the taste of water. But once you get used to it, you will crave water. Trust me, when you get to the point where you're craving water, you know that you have arrived where water is concerned. So that is a really, really good sign. Okay, oil blend number one. 8 drops of clove, 8 drops of cinnamon bark, 15 rosemary, and 10 drops of thyme. We're going to put that in a 2-ounce bottle and fill the rest of it with V6 or a carrier oil of your choice. I really love V6. It's easy. We can use that on the bottom of our feet. If you Vitaflex, you can Vitaflex your feet. And we're going to use that over the pancreas. And remember how I mentioned we can do a warm compress. A warm compress always kicks up whatever we're doing with oils. Remember, if we get an oil somewhere in our body where we're sensitive, we don't put water with it, right? We put a carrier oil. So if we want to kick it up, we can put some moisture to it, and that will enhance it. So we can do that with this. We can also add some castor oil to it. Castor oil is phenomenal. So take your dropper, put some castor oil in your hand, put a dropper or two of the oil mix you've got, put that over your pancreas, put a warm, moist towel. It's just a really, really good thing to do. Okay, oil blend number 2. 25 drops of cinnamon bark, 25 drops of cypress, 25 drops of basil. So you're going to put that in a 1-ounce dropper bottle, just the oil, and put that on the bottom of the feet and over the pancreas. Now, there is cinnamon bark. The other two are pretty mild, but if the cinnamon bark is too much for you, then put it with a carrier. Otherwise, I personally would just use it neat, just as it is. And how many times a day you do that is up to you. Do you feel good doing it twice a day? Do you feel good doing it 4 times a day? Do you feel better doing it every other hour? That's up to you, right? Okay, and this is a really cool roller blend that I love. And this just, I think about this one as something that I can just show my pancreas a little extra pampering. And it's 20 drops of 3 Wise Men. You guys, 3 Wise Men is an amazing oil blend. Absolutely amazing. 10 drops of coriander, 10 drops of cypress. Put that in a 10 ml roller and top it with V6 and just roll it on whenever you feel like it. I tend to keep one of those and kind of rotate through different ones, and that morning and night I'll just roll it on, before I get dressed, before I go to bed. Easy peasy. So now I want to dig in just a little bit deeper to the nutritional side of supporting the pancreas and keeping our blood sugar levels healthy. So I'm going to give you a good, better, best. All right. And they're cumulative. So as we go, we're just adding two, right? So a good option would be essential zyme as an enzyme with every meal. Now, essential zyme is just has an extra affinity for the pancreas. There's some ingredients in it that are just really nourishing to the pancreas. So we need enzymes anyway to digest our food, and most of us don't have enough. We need to be supplementing that, especially with the kind of diet we eat. And I don't know if you think back today, um, did you everything that you ate today, is it actually food? We eat a lot of stuff that's not food, and we call it food. So there's that. But regardless, we're taking pressure off of the pancreas, off of the liver, off of the gallbladder, right? When we do a food enzyme, it just takes pressure off of the entire digestive process. So it's kind of what we would call a no-brainer, or what I call a no-brainer. Like everyone should be doing a food enzyme every time you eat a meal, in my opinion. Ningxia Red. We talked about Ningxia Red already. I don't know how much Ningxia Red you need. Your body knows. You can muscle test it. You can use it until you feel like, okay, I had enough today. Listen to the body. Learn if you don't trust what your body tells you, learn to listen. Learn to just tune in to how you feel and what your body craves. What you pick up and you go, maybe I'll pick up this red cedar bliss tomorrow and my body will be like, yeah, no, I don't think so. I just don't feel drawn to it. So okay, I set it back down and I use something else. Just pay attention because the body really, really, really knows. Trust yourself. So we talked about it. Antioxidants helps to keep those healthy blood sugar levels where they need to be. Most people start with a couple of ounces a day. I think dividing that out is much better. Like if we get up and do it first thing in the morning and never do it the rest of the day, guess what? Our blood sugar could be like this, right? So if we're more consistent with the things that we do, then the more consistent the blood sugar levels are going to remain. So do what you will with that. Okay, ocotea, cinnamon bark, or basil. You can use 1, 2, 3. You can rotate them. You can do whatever you want. Remember, cinnamon bark's a warm oil, but take them with meals. Again, it really gives that extra bit of support that the body may be needing. So you could drop some in Ningxia Red if you wanted to. You could put it in capsules. You can do this and drop it under your tongue. Whatever works for you, but just use them and get used to doing that regularly. So that's the good option, okay? Now we're going to add to that with a better option. So option number 2 is better. We're going to add multigreens to that. And you know what? Most people take somewhere between 3 and 10 capsules a day. You may need less, you may need more. I don't know, but spread it out throughout the day. It contains barley grass and spirulina, and they're known to help maintain healthy blood sugar levels. It's got chlorophyll in it, which we know is supportive in general to the glandular system and the digestive system. It has a lot of other ingredients in it. Go look them up, read about them, and see if that resonates with you. But it's something that is really, really good in general for the glandular system. Detoxime or allerzyme in between meals at bedtime. Because when we take an enzyme between meals, it's breaking down foreign proteins, other things that are in the body, in the blood that we don't want, things that are toxic to us. And our goal here, right, is to keep the body clean. And enzymes between meals help to do that. So we're going to work on keeping the body clean. So it's going to help us at night, especially when the body regenerates and it cleanses and all those things at night. So I literally take a handful of detoxime at bedtime. Like I just dump some in my hand and throw them back. So it may be 8, it may be 15. It just depends. Sulfurzyme. So sulfurzyme has been found to increase cell permeability. So therefore, it increases or improves our glucose tolerance and insulin sensitivity. So we're able, those cells are healthier. Now, remember we talked about earlier about the cells being so toxic and so unhealthy that they can't uptake the insulin, right? They can't uptake nutrients. So we want to do everything we can to keep our cells healthy. Now, as a plus, the sulfurzyme powder has a prebiotic in it. So just another bump for the digestive system in general, right? So you can figure out which one works best for you. Or maybe you want to alternate. Maybe, in the morning you want to do one, and in the afternoon or before bed you want to do another one. Do you figure out what works best for you? And last on the option 2, the better option is mineral essence. So mineral essence is actually formulated with over 60 organic ionic trace minerals, and it's blended to perfection with royal jelly and some essential oils to enhance the bioavailability and significantly improve oxygenation to our cells. Mineral deficiency is a very common thing, and it is a precursor to every ailment known to man. So why wouldn't we ensure that we have enough minerals? And if you're the individual that's sitting there thinking, I don't like the taste of mineral essence, well, then figure out a way to get it down. I personally drop it right into my Ningxia and I shoot it back. But I also, in my cup right now tonight, I've got Ningxia Red. I put a little bit of fizzy water in it, just as a little special treat. And I've got 4 droppers of mineral essence, and then I put about a half a squirt of electrolyte drops. And it's yummy. It is so refreshing. It is so good. And I'm getting the good minerals in. So figure out a way that works for you. Put it in a smoothie, put it in juice, do whatever you need to do. I know people that literally said, just drop it under my tongue. God bless them. Do it. Do what works for you. And the more you take it, the easier it is to take. So you just get used to it. All right. Option number 3, the best option. We're adding some form of protein, Balanced Complete, pure protein, Power Meal. We're adding some form of protein, and this is a really good thing to do at breakfast, you guys. Or if you're that individual that's rushing around all day and maybe you don't take time to eat lunch and you know you need to keep that blood sugar stable, right? Then take it. Bring it with you in the car, in the office. I have literally been known to bring water and dump it in here and just close the lid and shake this up and drink it. I have also been known, not my best moment, but you do what you have to do. I have actually put it in a bottle of water that I stopped and got at a convenience store because that's all I had access to. And I knew I needed something. So I drank some out of there, some water out, and I dumped my protein in it, shook it up really good, and I drank it. So where there's a will, there's a way, folks. But it's again, good fiber that helps to reduce those spikes that we sometimes experience and helps to keep us more steadfast, keep the blood sugar levels more stable. Master formula, last but not least, master formula. If you're not already using it, if you're not familiar with it, it is actually a synergistic advanced nutrient complex of premium vitamins and minerals and food-based nutriments. The ingredients provide support for the entire body. They help to neutralize free radicals and support good gut flora with the prebiotics that are in it. It is phenomenal. Dr. Purser talks about that it is his favorite Young Living product, and Dr. Purser is an endocrinologist. Guess what? The pancreas is a gland. So he talks all the time about feeding the body, getting the body nutrients sufficient so that it has everything that it needs to function properly. So friends, if we do these things, if we're proactive now, that will help us not to have to come back and pick up the pieces later, right? And if we're already dealing with some of these, that's okay. Keep pushing forward. Keep doing the things you know to do, cleaning up the environment, drinking your water, moving the body, changing your diet, all those things, because every little tiny choice that you make in that direction makes a huge difference day after day after day after day. It accumulates just like the toxins can accumulate, right, in our body. All the good choices accumulate as well. So I hope that this has given you some good information, some places to start, some things to do to be supportive of your pancreas and maintaining healthy blood sugar.